Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is it going, people? How is it going, people? It's Mr. Laughter right here, ladies and gentlemen, and we are looking at Arsenal. Sorry for being late a little bit, but let's go on and we under Arsenal, 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 Arsenal. How can I say it? It's been a very, very good season for Arsenal, as you guys understand in all aspect. Arsenal has played the best game of the season. They happen to do their best in all aspects, I would say. But still, they came out short. They didn't make it. Did not have the capacity to really win the Premier League. So right now, it's just on Tommy Bay TV. Subscribe if you've not subscribed yet. This is a channel that brings you the latest on Arsenal aspect and latest on every single footballing world concerning the Premier League and all around the world. But let's look at focus on Arsenal today. Now, as you guys know, it's disappointing that a season that we expected Arsenal really to come up and do their best, a season that we expected Arsenal to win and perform well, a season that we expected Arsenal to do their best in all aspects. It has really fallen down. But all in all, what we pray for is to look up and just stay strong and see what comes next season. Now, as you guys know, we have looked at our Mikel Arteta really talked on the end of the season speech. He made it very clear that Arsenal shouldn't be satisfied. Arsenal shouldn't be satisfied with every single game that they have played this season. It's not time to give up. It's not time to think that Arsenal can never bring the trophy back home. It's not time even to think that Arsenal uh, are not doing their best. Josh Kroenke also came in and spoke about Arsenal fighting again next season and bringing their A game and bringing their level to the highest level where they can bring up their game to the momentum where Manchester City can also fight. Arsenal can fight Manchester City in a very good way. As you guys know, it's been very, very difficult. If Arsenal have about 100 and so games played, and they played in the Champions League, they played FA Cup and all the other games, but in the Premier League, playing 38 games, having about 28 wins. A club like Arsenal should be winning. Um, but we know the bar has been set. Manchester City has set a very, very big bar for any club, for any club, ladies and gentlemen. And we can't really understand how all this can materialize and work well because sometimes you get so many points, but still you find that it's not good enough. We have seen that Manchester City has set a very, very big bar for the Premier League, winning four in a row, which any other team in the Premier League has never done. And we see that Pep Guardiola being there is a very, very tremendous, a very, very important aspect of the Premier League. We look at Arsene Wenger, we look at Sir Alex Ferguson, we look at some Sir Danny Douglas from Liverpool. We look at so many coaches in the Premier League, but they haven't done that in the Premier League. So Pep Guardiola comes as the number one coach who has done four in a row, and it's a record that Premier League has never had. So looking at the Arsenal, we are just going to reflect on what Arsenal did good and what Arsenal didn't really do well. Let me see in your comment if you have anything in the comment, and we discuss this and see why Arsenal did not perform well. What can they do next season? What could they have done better to make it to the end of the year, winning the title? Because as we see, there's so many things that Arsenal did that I would say they could learn a lot from this season. Looking at the two seasons back, still Arsenal fell short at the end. They bottled it. Actually, that's what most people were saying. But also, when you look at this season, I felt like they took it up to the end of the season, the end of the game, which doesn't mean they bottled it. They at least played their best. Arsenal did their best, um, much as they fell short. But looking at the season, which game would you say is the game that really cost Arsenal? Because if I look back at the Arsenal games, I would say the game against Fulham, losing against Fulham there, having a draw, five actually. They had so many draws. Let's pull up the table here and we can see how many draws they really had because it's just it's just challenging. The main game that I feel like really affected Arsenal is the Aston Villa game. Even Pep Guardiola said Arsenal, when they lost against Aston Villa, they knew for sure that they're gonna win the Premier League because Arsenal didn't play well and um, they gave them a chance to really turn up and play. Even the game that they played against Manchester City itself, um, Rodri talked about it in his conference. I mean, in his interview, and he said, "Yeah, Arsenal should have won that game. They felt like Arsenal did not really come with a good mentality to win that game. If they had come with that mentality, they could have won the game." But that is all what Manchester City players are saying. But all in all, Arsenal tried and did their best, and they played actually the best game for the season with a lot of records and a lot of records, guys. If we had to look at here how this record says it here all, um, because when you look at Arsenal, the way they played this season, it was really really good. It was so good in many aspects. So when you look at this, um, Manchester City winning 28 games, drawing seven. And then when you look at the points, that is 91, and Arsenal 89. They won all their last game. Manchester City were not really beaten this year. The only point they lost is against Arsenal with that draw. This is the standard. This is the standard of the Premier League and the standard that Mikel Arteta needs to bring up his team to, because when you look at City playing um, over almost 15 games without really losing a game, that is um, a tremendous standing that nobody can really disagree with it. Because when you see Manchester City can just beat any team that comes across when it comes towards the end of the season, you won't believe that Manchester City are really the benchmark of the Premier League. It's crazy. You can even see it right here, like goal difference 62, all tied, and 2 points. 2 points. Arsenal just fall short. And it was just the Aston Villa game, just the only game that I felt like cost Arsenal. But half of the season at the start, we know Arsenal didn't really play well in the season, at the beginning of the season. That also we can give some little doubt on that as well. That's why they didn't really make it. But I felt like Aston Villa game is the game that really disturbed Arsenal. They could have been champion if they had won that game. Because looking at all these top four, the only team that Arsenal has lost, looking at Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Aston Villa, it's only Aston Villa that beat them home and away this season. So they ended up in number four, which is still Champions League position. But that is the only team in the top four here that has beaten Arsenal. Chelsea got a draw. Newcastle in number seven here. I think they also got a draw one time. So looking at all these big six, I would say Arsenal lost only to Aston Villa, which was terrible. That is the only game that cost Arsenal, in my view. So it's really a very big challenge. So I have a comment here from Victor, said Arsenal tried their best. That's good, thank you, brother. Arsenal tried their best, as we know. They couldn't do anything else, so it's always good to try your best. But the season um, has ended, and we don't really want to worry about it anymore. We just need to recap a little bit and talk about it and see what else we can do to improve. Now, looking at the season, I just want to talk about a little bit of it. Looking at how Arsenal really performed this season, I felt like my player of the season is this player that I felt like really changed Arsenal's style of play, changed Arsenal game, and gave us the best Arsenal that we were missing last season. And that player is Declan Rice. I felt like signing Declan Rice fully under Mikel Arteta understood what Arsenal really needed, and they did. I mean, he did its best. He was so tremendous, and he was so good in the midfield. Replacing Shaka is not easy, since we know that Shaka is a very good player, and he played that very pivotal role in many aspects. So when we get to understand that fully, um, that yeah, Declan Rice coming in this season. It really changed Arsenal midfield, and I feel like also the signing of Kai Havertz also helped Arsenal so much. But still, uh, looking at those two signings that really improved Arsenal, I would say we still need more signings. We still need more signings this season. If possible, Arsenal can get a striker and can really fight next season. That would be a very good thing, I would say. Very good thing for Arsenal, because if they can play, they can acquire a striker. They're really looking at some few strikers. We can dive into that later. But I feel like if Arsenal had a prolific striker like Alan at Manchester City, Arsenal could have won the game. They could have won the Premier League, but because they didn't have a very good striker, uh, the only challenge that I had is because if you had good players, but having a striker up front sometimes is really tremendous. Many people will argue that Pep Guardiola won the Premier League with false nine, but I don't see any player in the Arsenal squad that can play false nine that we really think that is a very good false nine. So I totally agree with that, but also disagree because Arsenal doesn't have that player that can play false nine to win them a league um, title. So Kai Havertz coming in and doing his best was good. He did his best, about 14 goals in the season. That is very good season for a player who has just joined Arsenal um, this season. So it's good. It's really good. Um, so and then we had players in the Arsenal squad that I would really feel like they can be my player of the season. Looking at Bukayo Saka, he didn't have his best game this season, but he also played a very pivotal role in so many ways in the Premier League this season. And also when you look at what is his name? If you look at um Leandro Trossard, that was the guy that when Arsenal needed goals, Arsenal ran to. Much as he didn't play so well this season, also, but he was the most important, valuable goal scorer for Arsenal this season. Kai Havertz also played his part, but I felt like Trossard was the one that I felt he he fit the season. He fit the criteria that Mikel Arteta was really using for replacement of Martinelli. We know Martinelli didn't really play his best game this season. We don't know whether it's just because of the knee injury that he had or it's just because of something different that affected his game. But we know Martinelli, once he has had a bad season, the next season he always sparks. So let's hope this coming season, 2024 2025, when it starts in August, he's going to be massive and he's going to be play his best game of the season because I trust Martinelli. I know he's electric. I know he's really good. But having its bad season doesn't mean you're a bad player. So that's just my argument. But I felt like I could give player of the year to um, Saliba and Gabriel. I could still even give it to Ben White. The second half of the season, he was tremendous. I could even give it to a player like let's see, in the midfield, Declan Rice. I already gave that to him. I feel like all the Arsenal players would get player of the season for me. Martin Odegaard also did his best. Much as he didn't really score so many goals compared to comparing it with last season, but he still he was still instrumental. He was like the I would say the implementer, like the one player who was really focusing on the coach and giving the coach what he wanted for the game at Arsenal. He's the one who started every attack for Arsenal. He's the one who really pushed Arsenal to the limit, trying to start, yeah, uh, to press to give pressure at the far front or up front in in any matches that Arsenal played. So I felt like any I can give player of the season to almost all the players at Arsenal, but I've gone with Declan Rice. So Declan Rice is my number one player of the season for for this season. But you can give me your player of the season, give me your rating. What do you think about the season? But that is as player of the season would go. I would give it to Declan Rice since it's just his first season at Arsenal. But he did crazy well. So that is great. Now let's look at Mikel Arteta himself. What can I say? Oh, Arteta has been a good coach. He has brought Arsenal from a very I would say from the back door to the front door because looking at how Mikel Arteta came in almost 5 years ago, I guess, um, but Arsenal was in a shamble. Well, Arsenal was not great. Arsenal was just in a mess. Unai came in, played his game, but Arsenal wasn't really that good. Took him out, brought in attacker Arteta, and Arteta did his best. I would say first season winning the FA Cup. That's the only trophy he has ever won in the Arsenal managerial position. And after that, just building the team. I give him a lot of credit and I give him a lot of respect for really pushing Arsenal and bringing Arsenal to that aspect where people are now talking about Arsenal. Imagine people used to talk about Arsenal, that Arsenal trophy was tough for. It wasn't like challenging for the Premier League. So in my view, I feel like it's a very um tight game. It's almost a tight um I mean, what can I say? A tight judgment of Mikel Arteta. We know managers are always measured by the amount of trophies and titles they get. Um, but in the last 5 years, Mikel Arteta hasn't really got anything important to the Arsenal community. But also, we get to see that he still pushed well. He did so well in bringing the fans back to supporting Arsenal, bringing like the fans closer to the players, to the Emirates, and none of that had been done. Bringing in the national, the anthem, North London Forever. That is a very key aspect of fans connecting with the Arsenal players, and having almost. He has done a lot. He deserves a lot of credit, much as he also deserves a lot of criticism because some of the games that Arsenal lost or drew, I felt like some of them were his fault. First of all, playing Kai Havertz at the beginning of the season, right in the midfield, he was still trying to experiment. I felt like the season for experimentation is gone long time ago. Mikel Arteta could have really noticed and known why he signed Kai Havertz instead of really experimenting right at the beginning. You know, remember playing Thomas Partey at the left back. You guys, I think you should remember that playing Thomas Partey at left back. Um, no, not left back, right back. When the season started, keeping Gabriel Magalhaes outside and um, playing Timber and White in the mid in the defense, trying something that he's not used to. I felt like he took the half of the season, the beginning of the season, as it felt like it was experimental a little bit, which also cost Arsenal because I felt like some of the games that we lost with, like, yeah, with Fulham, that that could have been a very different game if Zini did not really play that game. We still had places that we needed changes in, like the left back, Zinchenko, looking at Tomiyasu, looking at um, Yeah, Timber getting that injured in one of the games, it cost Arsenal season. So I still give him some fault as well. He didn't really do his best as the manager in some aspects, but also we give him credit for bringing Arsenal back that where we bring Arsenal back where we wanted them to be. That is a few overview on Mikel Arteta. But if we could learn something from this season's Premier League, I feel like one thing is mentality has improved. The way of play has improved. Um, it's just naivety of some of the players and naivety of some of the managerial decisions that Mikel Arteta made in this season. I feel like he's still a young manager, but he can grow if he can really take out some of the or root out some of the key stuff that he has been doing, mistakes that he has done in the season. He would be a good. He would still be a good manager next season. He has to be ruthless with his substitution, ruthless with his starting 11, and really try not not. I feel like he should stop experimenting even at the beginning of the season or late in the season. That can give us a very very good aspect of the Premier League next season. We know Guardiola already spoke that Arsenal are now back and they're here to stay, and he's getting ready for Arsenal next season. He knows for sure that Arsenal challenged him so much this season, and he's gonna spend his money the right way, and he's gonna find the right players that can fight for the Premier League. So we all know because Pep Guardiola is one manager that never gets tired of winning. He never gets tired of really winning the Premier League or Champions League, wherever. Looking at how he did even the treble, and now again he's in the FA finals, and yeah, he's a very good coach, and I felt like Mikel Arteta, being his assistant for some years, he has learned a lot from him, and he should use that to fight against his master, like a student fight against his master. So let's give him a chance. Let's see if Mikel has mastered. I feel like even these players going through all these emotions, going through all this experience can give them so much in store for next season. Give them so much in all aspects, like bringing about unity, bringing about connection, and bringing about that fight and anger for next season. Because if you have lost the champions, I mean Premier League with just 2 points in 2 years, you have been second. I feel like the third year you should come back with a lot of energy, a lot of strength. You should come back like a wounded lion, I would say, yeah, so that you can perform to your best. Which is one thing that I feel like, yeah, we should expect from Arsenal this season. It's gonna be tough, but I reckon Arsenal winning the Premier League this coming season because they have learned. They have gone 2 seasons in a row experiencing that same emotion of not winning the league. You can't lose again in the third season where you have been going really for the league. I feel like they should have learned a lot, and they have learned a lot from this season and the other season, which can make them really fight next season for the best they can do. Um, and it's difficult still. It's gonna be difficult, but I feel like having a very good preparation in the league would really really help. If they have a very good preseason here in the US, it would be a very 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 good aspect. Yeah, Arsenal is coming here in the US. They're gonna play in LA and they're gonna play in Philadelphia. So yeah, if chance all goes well and I'm free, I will go for the game, and you guys will see some of the highlights. We shall be live there as Bato TV and give you some of the details if they're here in the US. So subscribe if I'm not subscribed. But if all doesn't go well, possibly we shall just do watch along if I don't really go there. Philadelphia is not far from where I am, so that should be a good game I would love to see. One time I went to Baltimore when they came in. It was really, really good. That was a very good experience for me to see them play here, playing against Everton. So, yeah, should be good. Should be really really good, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, in all aspects. Give me your view on the game. What do you think about the season? If you have not been for the live stream as you watch, also let me know what you think about the season. We're just looking at the recap of the season, what really went wrong and why Arsenal didn't win the league. First of all, the fact of Manchester City just going thousand of wins in a row towards the end of the season. Nobody can compete and outcompete them. They're the best team in the Premier League ever. Looking at what they have won, yeah. So nobody can really argue with that. It's really a very good get a very good fight. Let's hope Mikel Arteta can come back with better strategy coming this season, next season. I mean, and he can really perform and uplift his players. I feel like this 2 season fight that Arsenal never won the league on, they should really do it. They should fight for it and do their best and see how well they can really perform in all aspects for next season. Nothing else we can really say. Arsenal did their best, I would say. They fought really, really well. They gave Manchester City a run for their money. Uh, they they gave all their best, like Mikel Arteta said. But we are not satisfied. So as Arsenal, we are not satisfied with these performances. We are not satisfied satisfied with all the games that Arsenal has played. The next time Arsenal want to win the league, they should win with 100 points. That's what Mikel Arteta said in his press conference after losing the game. So hopefully, even if the game hasn't been good for them this season. Next season is a fight. They should learn from this 2 season, winning second or staying second in the 2 seasons when they are really, really fighting. They played so well this season, ladies and gentlemen. They were the best team in the Premier League, I would say, having the best record in the defense, having almost many goals in. Oh, man, Arsenal this record, I don't know. There's no other Arsenal team that could beat the record. I know the Invincible had like 90 points, so but still, Arsenal could have been the champions if they had won Aston Villa game. Losing to Aston Villa home and away, that was the one part that I felt like this straight Arsenal game really made Arsenal to fall apart at the end of the season. But yeah, we don't need to give up. We still need to fight next season, and that's all I wanted to really share with you guys and to give you insight of what I think about Arsenal this season. Let me know in the comment if you have any insight. What do you think about Arsenal game this season, and what would you expect from Arsenal next season? What is your main emphasis? What is your main thought on the next season's game? What can Arsenal do? Do we need a striker? Do we need a midfielder? Do we need um, other players that can help? Um, uh, in so many aspects of the game. Yeah. Let me know in the comment and subscribe to Baturo if you have not subscribed yet. Yeah, this is the end of the show. We shall talk about more in a few time. Thank you so much for watching. One love.